West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 9 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. I'm just wondering if the little guys chugging along in the Pacific with their cocaine boats are going, I have a right to privacy, as the drone missile hits them. Let's talk about this because Trump's unleashing for the second time in 2 days. Trump administration launching deadly strikes on vessels suspected of smuggling drugs in the Pacific. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth saying that the strikes this week were the 8th and 9th known boat attacks that U.S. Special Operation Forces have conducted since the operation began in September and brought the officially acknowledged death toll to 37. Oh, I'm so sorry your little drug cartel operations are no longer so easily available to get into the United States. I love it. I want to see more of this. I'm going to get really passionate about this. And yes, you can call in and say, we haven't officially declared war. These are extrajudicial killings, and they're non-constitutional. Give me a call. Let's have that conversation. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line 819-5115. These cartels have waged enough war and killed enough Americans. It's long past due to send our military to blow them to smithereens. That's what I think. Would love to hear from you. Now is time, though, for news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
All right, good morning. It is Thursday, 45 and mostly cloudy, expecting a high of 70 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
Air traffic controllers, some people call the policemen of our skies, they have been showing up at work without pay. And news reports have suggested that these men and women are seeking outside employment just to keep their families afloat. Some of them are working these long shifts, and then they're hopping in a car and driving for Uber.
Speaker Johnson on the shutdown and air traffic controllers working Uber and other jobs after work. Colorado's own Representative Jeff Crank on the show this morning with Jeff and Billy. It's now day 23 of the Schumer shutdown. The Senate failed for the 12th time to pass a funding bill that would end it. Crank says, of course, it's on the Democrats.
Why not just take yes for an answer? Because John Thune told Senate Democrats, let's just open the government. I'll give you a date that we can vote on these health care that enhanced premium tax credits. That wasn't good enough. So I don't know what it is. You'd have to ask them. I'm not the one that's in charge of the shutdown. It's them. And so I don't get it. I don't understand it. And again, we can talk about all these things. When you talk about people suffering, are these enhanced premium tax credits being dealt with? No, we're not dealing with them right now because we're dealing with the government shutdown. Once you get that out of the way, we can talk about these other things.
Denver's own Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups reportedly charged in an illegal poker operation connected with the mafia. Meanwhile, a player from the Heat, Terry Rozier, has been charged in a different case involving inside information to make wagers on games. Reportedly, Chauncey's did not have to do with games. The NBA educates everyone involved in the game on gambling, from the trainers to the coaches, to the players, the media, anyone, statisticians, and the dangers of it, and the fact that you'll lose your job if you get involved in gambling. The problem is everything in sports now revolves around gambling, and they're going to have to figure it out, or it is going to ruin sports. There's just way too much money in it. Sanctions on two of Russia's largest oil companies are being imposed by the DJT administration. The move is aimed at getting Russia to agree to an immediate ceasefire with Ukraine. 47 has previously signaled he could impose penalties on Moscow for its continuation of the war, and in remarks from the Oval Office, he explained that he felt it was time to issue the sanctions. Construction crews are demolishing the East Wing of the White House to make room for President Trump's new ballroom, and actually everyone's ballroom. They're going to be able to use it for 100 years, hopefully. Lefties have lost their minds over it for, of course, political reasons. And here's how the left handles opposition. Texas State Representative, if you haven't heard it yet, Jolanda Jones, how she wants to handle Republicans.
I'm from the hood, okay? So when a bully comes, like, if there are no rules, you literally have to figure it out. So Donald Trump has changed things, and people trying to do what's always been done is not going to work. And I think that's why Democrats are losing black people. That's why they're losing poor people, because poor people, all they want is for us to fight. So if you hit me in my face, I'm not going to punch you back in your face. I'm going to go across your neck, because we can go back and forth fighting in each other's faces. You've got to hit hard enough where they won't come back. And so, for the same way I went to New York and spoke with Governor Kathy Hochul and said, if they're going to try to wipe us out in Texas, we need to wipe out every Republican in New York, in California, in Illinois. No.
Wow, exactly what Kamala did. And all of her friends on the left 4 years ago and 7 years ago and 8 years ago, this is what they do. They resort to violence. Nice job. She looks really pretty in her outfit while she talks about slashing people across the throat. DeCarlos Brown Jr., the man who murdered Irina Zarutska, stabbed in cold blood, seen on video on the train in Charlotte. Brown Jr. has been federally indicted and is likely to face the death penalty. Nuggets tip off the NBA season tonight at Golden State, and the Avalanche play host to the Hurricanes in Lodo this evening. Vikings and Chargers in the NFL. 44 in Lone Tree, 43 in Lafayette, 45 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Expect another good-looking day here in Denver and along the Front Range with sunny to partly sunny skies, light winds, and a beautiful October day. Temperatures will be well into the 60s up to near 70 degrees, lows tonight near 40. Becoming cloudy Thursday and Thursday evening, a chance of showers. Highs mid to upper 60s Thursday, showers ending Thursday night, lows in the low to mid 40s. A little cooler Friday, a high near 60, back to the mid to upper 60s and partly cloudy for Saturday. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Headline out of the New York Times: the U.S. expands its anti-drug campaign, striking a boat in the Pacific off Colombia. Bill, what do you think of these? We're now looking at 37 officially acknowledged death toll. Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, said that, different story, sorry. The articles combined there. Hegseth has not provided complete geographical details beyond saying that the attacks had taken place in the Eastern Pacific in international waters. All of the previous 7 attacks have taken place in the Caribbean. Good use of resources, sending a message to the cartel that we're no longer playing around and that the death of Americans isn't going to be tolerated, or civil rights violations. Your thoughts?
Well, a couple of layers of things. I I somewhat disagree with the idea, and I know they use this a lot, that these cartels are coming here to kill Americans. No, they're coming here to make money. This is a supply and demand thing. That is functionally true and has been for decades. So the idea that we're assuming these are terrorists coming here to intentionally harm Americans when we are purchasing the drugs from them and then voluntarily ingesting them, I have a problem completing that circle of logic, just personally. Now, the other thing that I have questions about is, and again, it's difficult for me because I don't want to know the information gathering process or how they know, but even from official sources, they do say these are suspected terrorists. And that worries me that we don't know. And again, and drug dealers. So I don't know. And we have made mistakes in the past. And one of those being so far with someone like Abrego Garcia. The idea that he was tagged as this dangerous MS-13 gang member, and yet we haven't seen the government be able to necessarily prove that in a court of law yet. That's what I'm worried about in situations like this, when the government gets to decide universally who the criminal is and what the punishment should be. I'm concerned. I don't want to know the exact process, but I really want to have some sort of an oversight that assures me that we are going after people that are awful. And the other question I have would be, given voice to someone that called off air that was heading to Glenwood Springs, and appreciate you listening that far up in the mountains. Thank you so much. But the cell phone signal is about to cut off. And his question was, we hear all the time about it's the Chinese that give us the chemicals for fentanyl. Correct. Why are we not then monitoring boats coming out of China and shooting their boats as well?
I think we are monitoring them, and I'd be fine if we shot them. Look, you have two different things that happening here, but in both cases, Americans are dying. I think the Chinese want to kill Americans, 100%. I think that's part of reason why they do this. It's part of their strategic warfare against us, is to send all these chemicals to Mexico where they're put together and then kill Americans. I think they rejoice in the death of Americans. But I don't care if that's not your primary motivation. If your primary motivation is still to make money, but it results in the death of Americans, that's terrible. And when it results in the death of 100,000 Americans a year, that's way worse than what Al-Qaeda did. Al-Qaeda killed 3,000 Americans. We went to war for 20 years against those people. These guys killing 100,000 Americans a year with their drugs. And you get this, on one hand, you get the kind of, oh no, we shouldn't have the war on drugs. Let's just bring counselors and maybe we won't have this problem. They are inflicting death and pain against our fellow citizens. They are terrorists. They should be treated as such. And it is so refreshing to have a president that's unleashed the power of the DEA to go after these people and take drones and target these boats until you got to be insane to want to try to bring an illegal drug into America.
Yeah, the thing is that I understand, again, I disagree with the idea that they're doing this and then killing Americans, because in every case of overdose, that individual voluntarily took the drugs.
True. Not in every case.
What do you
mean?
Didn't
know what they were taking. I've heard plenty of stories of kids that didn't know what they were taking.
It's not the idea of not knowing. It's the idea of they took the illegal drug, picked it up, and put it into their body. That's what I'm talking about.
Bill, sometimes they thought it was Oxycontin or something like that. It ended up being fentanyl and killed them.
But again, they bought it through the black market. They're not going through prescriptions. They're not going to doctors. They bought this substance illegally and voluntarily placed it into their body, turning around and saying that happened, and then those people are responsible for the deaths. I mean, if it's just about the fact that what they are bringing into the country or what they're manufacturing is killing Americans, then we need to have a conversation about tobacco companies, and maybe we need to have missile strikes on the Marlboro Man.
We've sued them into the ground. I know, that's for sure.
I know, sued them, but the issue being military strikes and executing them. I mean, do we need to have a military strike against Philip Morris's headquarters? That's what I'm looking at. Because, again, that was a product that was specifically designed to get someone addicted and did have negative consequences, of which they hid, and they actively promoted it. But again, that's the issue, is at some point or another, where does an individual's personal responsibility end? And as long as the individual, and this is difficult for me, but as long as the individual has to make the affirmative choice to place the substance in their body, even if they didn't know what it was, there is a question there. If I went out and laid a whole bunch of, and I labeled them on the street outside our station today, and labeled them, and this is kind of funny, the idea of, let's go back to MASH, the old movie there, where you've got someone that is trying to commit suicide. He wants out of there, and they find suicide pills for him. If you took those pills and laid them out on the street and labeled them suicide pills, here they are. Anybody that came over there and picked them up, where is my responsibility end and where does their responsibility start? That's kind of the issue that I've got. It's difficult, but that's where I don't agree with the idea that these people are coming here to kill Americans. Guess what? If no Americans picked up those drugs and didn't put them in their system, no deaths. So at some point, we bear some responsibility in our behavior.
Sure, I agree with you that there's got to be responsibility in your behavior, but to the point with regards to alcohol and tobacco, right now those are legal drugs, right? This is why I believe prohibition works, because they're empowered by the free market to get as many users as they possibly can. That's why you have vaping and alcohol ads all the time, trying to get as many users as they can, okay? But our society has said, those drugs, all right, we'll allow. Sugar, for instance, is a drug, right? And the impact it has on your body. And we're like, well, we'll allow whatever sugary drinks you want to create, we'll allow those, okay? Even though we have an obesity epidemic, okay? But our society has said fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamines, we don't see any value to them. We don't want them in our nation. They're highly addictive and they kill people. Okay? We don't want them. And these cartels have said, we're going to push them on your society. We're going to get them to drug dealers. We're going to get the chemicals into Mexico. They are foreign actors forcing these drugs upon American citizens, and it's resulting in 100,000 deaths a year. And our response is, well, people choose them, and we have tobacco.
Yeah,
right?
But you did use the verb of forcing. I disagree with that. I don't see anybody around Denver being held down and forced to take the drugs.
Oh, Bill, they're getting these people addicted. They know exactly what they're doing. And just because a person in addiction, you think a person that's addicted to a drug is somehow making free and fair decisions about their lives. No, they're addicted to this, and these cartels got them hooked.
And
they're abusing and killing Americans. They deserve every little drone bomb coming their way. Let's go to the phone lines. Fred Longmont. Good morning, Fred. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Morning, guys. Billy, I'd like to disagree with you on part, okay? I recall, I can't remember which of the hosts it was on KNUS. I want to say Stephen Tubbs, but it might be wrong, who had a mother on whose daughter was in Colorado Springs, who actually was taking some product, and it wasn't considered a hazardous drug, but it turned out it was laced with fentanyl, and she died from it. So I think it might behoove you guys to get Stephen Tubbs on her to find this particular woman. I can't disagree with you, Billy, that people do make choices, but they knowingly, in that case, they may knowingly know they're taking drugs. But there's a lot of innocent people out there, and I've heard reports, too, just listening on the radio, that there are a lot of products now that are laced with fentanyl that people don't even know it's in there. It's been put in there, surreptitiously, but the product itself is not known to have fentanyl. So I think your statement needs to be a little more.
Well, Fred, the issue I push back on that is we have to divulge ingredients on the back of the box. And they have to divulge that.
Come on, Billy.
So, hang on, Fred.
People don't always divulge all the products that are in there.
Fred, then what you can do, if that is a concern, is you go and you test the product. And there are companies out there, and in fact, there are even government agencies, of which have been Doge, so we don't have enough people testing the products anymore, so maybe we don't know. But that would be on the Trump administration and Doge in my mind for cutting out the agencies that were supposed to be responsible for the safety in the first place. But aside from that, when we've had conversations with Stephen Tubbs here, it is the illegal and illicit drugs that are the ones that are causing the overdoses. If I remember the situation that you have there, I believe the child bought illegal drugs and they thought it was one thing and it was laced with fentanyl. And the reason it's laced with fentanyl is because it allows a higher profit margin. Fentanyl is much less expensive, and you've got basically kitchen countertop chemists cutting up these drugs into different and varying amounts and weight, just like they used to in the grand 80s with all the cocaine. The cocaine would come in and they would cut it down and they would mix it with other things in order to be able to sell it at a certain weight but have a less concentration of cocaine. I have not seen personally, and I can completely be wrong, but I haven't seen anything personally of a over-the-top or commercial drug that's available that has then been laced with fentanyl that is anything other than a mistake. I haven't seen anything where it is purposefully put in there. Now, if you have examples, if it is, McDonald's hamburgers, or it's Coca-Cola, or it is the Sudafed pills you buy at the store, that they are surreptitiously lacing that with fentanyl, please raise the red flag and we will scream about it as much as possible. But I have yet to come across examples where you have commercially available products intentionally being laced with these type of drugs. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, thank you for dominating the conversation with your speech. But I'm telling you that there are. I've also listened to the radio, and I listen to other good sources, reputable sources, who say that there are products out there. They may not be commercial drugs, but there are ways that those things can get injected in there. All I'm saying is, Billy, you made one grand statement as if everybody is a drug addict and therefore they're innocent. I'm more inclined to be in agreement with Jeff. Yes, if you make a decision to take a product that you know is detrimental, you are responsible. But also, the product is being supplied by people who have an intention of, sure, making money. But even if they make money and you die, they don't care because there'll be just more people.
Yeah,
all
Fred,
I'm saying is you made one overriding statement that made it 100% of everybody, and that's not true.
I disagree, Fred, and you got to make a speech as well. Just want to point that out since you had to throw rocks at me there. Doing a search on the Google box and DuckDuckGo, I can't come up with anything that shows a commercially manufactured product that is intentionally being laced with fentanyl. They're all counterfeit, knockoffs, or illegal. No, that's Fred's claim, is that there is a commercially available product that these people are putting fentanyl in. That's where I'm pushing back on him, that he's saying these companies are putting it in there, not these drug dealers.
I didn't say that.
What?
You made that statement.
Oh,
I said there are people who will take a product individually, and they may go to a party and say, oh, well, let's just hype up this particular item and put a little fentanyl in there. Nobody will know it. I didn't say Walmart or McDonald's. I didn't say that kind of commercial. I just said they take a product, and they will then lace it. Billy, you want to make it as if
Fred,
everybody does.
I want to ask you guys this question. What do we do with these guys? These cartels that operate, they're making a ton of money. And I'm not saying that Americans are completely innocent in consuming these drugs, and that's not part of the problem in this equation. But you've got vicious cartels operating, coming from China, working in Mexico, and Latin America, and the result of their work, whether or not they intend to do so or not, the result of their work is 100,000 Americans dying a year. We've said we don't want these drugs. We're trying to stop these drugs, and they continue to put them on boats and drive them up to our country. I'm sorry, but I'm past the days of going, guys, I sure hope you can find something better to do with your lives. Please don't kill our American brothers and sisters with your drugs anymore. No, drop bombs on them. I'm tired of Americans dying because of these jerks down in Latin America killing us. Trump's right here.
Hey, Fred,
what do you do with these
Fred,
people?
I think I know we got sideways, because in your original example, you talked about the example from Stephen Tubbs and the daughter taking a product For me, that is a commercially available product. Otherwise, it's an illegal drug. So that's where our disagreement lies.
What do we do with these guys?
I know, but hang on. That's where our disagreement lies, is the nouns that were used. So if you meant illegal drugs, I apologize. And then I agree with you that people are absolutely leasing, and we can come to agreement on that one. Absolutely. So, Fred, what do we do with these guys? What's after Jeff's question? What do you think we do?
Well, first of all, you couldn't get away with what I would want to do, but I'll tell you anyhow. I would line those guys up against the wall because they know what they're doing also. These guys that are developing it and selling it, and I'd shoot them. I'm a little sick and tired of, oh, well, we've got to be humane. We can't have cruel and unusual punishment. Those people down in whatever country these drugs are coming from, they know exactly what they're doing. I've seen a few programs on TV too, about some of these drug cartels and some of these people that are behind them. Those people have no concern about what happens to the person in the end. All they care about, as you point out appropriately, they get their money. But if a few people die, hey, no problem. We'll just go find more people. All I'm saying is to indict everybody and say,
time to go to war.
You were responsible
time to go
for
to war.
what you
Fred, I appreciate it. We got so many calls I want to get to. We got Pete Boyles coming up. Chad Greeley. Let's go, Chad. Good morning, Chad. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I believe there's more than enough blame to go around. I believe everybody should be held personally accountable. If that's the smugglers, well, you got to do dealing drugs. There's a cost-benefit analysis in doing it. And if you get blown up or shot, well, that's what you get. When you take the drugs, there's kind of a cost-benefit analysis there too. Is the high worth the risk?
Do you think it's unconstitutional for Donald Trump to drop drone bombs on these guys bringing up the drugs?
Yeah, there's lawyers that could twist this every which way. I sure as hell hope it would be constitutional, but would I probably get tore apart with a lawyer? Probably so.
And if it requires an act of Congress to get more serious about this, I'm okay with it, but I don't trust Congress to do much.
Absolutely.
Chad, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Chad. Let's go to Tim in Littleton. Good morning, Tim. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning, guys. Billy, you're about 25% right. I'm retired U.S. Coast Guard, 30-year act.
Now, Tim, I just want to say that's a larger percentage than I am normally right, so I appreciate that. So
I love we get these guys that call. Go ahead, Tim, please.
Yeah, we should have been doing this activity with those cigarette boats 30 years ago. I am telling you right now, a lot of these governments know what these guys are doing. They're in cahoots. Colombia, Belize, Peru, a lot of these governments, and it may not be the federal government, but the local governments are hand in hand because they benefit from it. And you're right, Billy, these people, this is a money business. It's about the money, nothing else. They don't care who they hurt. I have been on boardings where people have been sitting on Uzi machine guns waiting for us to turn at the wrong time, and they would have mowed us all down. This is strictly a business. And it is a big business, and it's not going to change until there's affirmative action taking place. And whether it's constitutional or not, I don't know. I'm not sure other people around the world are entitled to our constitutional rights and privileges. That's just my opinion. But yeah,
that's interesting. Now, Tim, I got a question for you. Got a question for this, and I really appreciate that, and I agree with so much of what you're saying. And again, this is very difficult for me. And here's what I want to know your opinion on: is the idea of these actions, and if we're going after the boats or the import mechanisms bringing the drugs in, is that enough to stop the incentive or even the idea of the drugs coming into the country in the first place? And where I'm going with this is, as long as there is a demand, won't the supplier find a way? You, I'm sure, even though you dealt with the Coast Guard, are well aware of Mexican cartels that have built highway-sized tunnels underneath the border going from Mexico into the U.S. in order to bring in large shipments of drugs and other things, and sometimes illegals. So the question I've got for you is, at what point do we attack supply, and at what point do we attack demand? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, You have to look at a couple of things, Billy. The need, the incessant need, the craving in this country for the illicit drugs. That's not going away as long as there are every generation that comes along that tries these drugs and gets addicted. They're addicted, and most addicts, and you can talk to, if you know an addict, I know several, they're addicts for life.
Yeah, I know some too. Yeah.
You have to just maintain a vigilance. You have to do your best. You have to educate. You have to keep an eye. Like these boats are called Go Fast, and they're usually cigarette boats, which is a style of boat that's designed for one thing and one thing only, speed. And if I'm sure there's satellite photos, they may not be online, but in my experience, these cigarette boats would have these large fuel bladders in the back where people would normally be. There's no people. There's this big balloon type thing full of diesel fuel. Now, why would you have a big balloon full of diesel fuel when you've got 4 or 5 diesel tanks under the boat? Well, they're full of drugs. So, I mean, they're not just picking these boats to blow out of the water at random. There's good intelligence that they know where they're coming from. They know their speed. They know certain routes. I mean, to be perfectly honest, some of these cartels are not smart. As smart as they are, they're not smart because they have patterns of behavior that we know, and they haven't changed them in ever. So, yeah.
Tim, I did a
Thanks,
DEA
Tim.
Citizens Academy, and by the way, I love the fact because anytime Bill and I talk, there's always an expert that calls in and gets it right. Tim's one of those guys, retired Coast Guard. I learned the story of the DEA where they they saw that one of the drug cartel operations was building a sub. And they just let them work on it for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then right before it was about to go, then they arrested him. So the guys spent all these years building this thing. Hey, we're about to, do the champagne thing to send it off. And that's when they show up. So, I mean, they got subs. They got it all.
Yeah, but Billy, I don't know if there is an answer to your question. There will always be an appetite for this poison, but all we can do as a nation and as a people in good conscience, and I consider myself a Christian, not a very good one, but I am one, is try to be vigilant and let these people know on the other end who are evil no more. We're not doing this.
Tim, great call. Sure appreciate it. Tim from Littleton, his line is open. We've got Peter Boyles coming up. He's going to preview what his show on the weekend is like. Let's talk Black Eyed Pea real quick. Friends, I love this restaurant with 8 locations. There's sure to be one near you. This week, make it a point to take your family out to eat at the Black Eyed Pea restaurant. Stuffed spuds are featured this month on their fall menu. Who doesn't love a good baked potato? Check out their sweet pork spud, a sweet potato topped with pulled pork drizzled with barbecue sauce, cheddar, and Monterey Jack cheese, as well as green onions. Gosh, my mouth is watering thinking about it. They also have the chopped steak spud, a south of the border spud, a cheeseburger spud, a pot roast stuffed spud, plus more. See their menu at blackeyedpeacolorado.com. Your dinner party, rehearsal dinner, wedding reception, or company event will be a success with Black Eyed Pea Catering. And Black Eyed Pea gift cards are always perfect for your spouse, birthday favors, holiday presents, or as a thank you to someone special. Be sure to get them a gift card. I love this restaurant. It's Maha. It's local. I know you'll love it as well. So keep it in Colorado and visit the Black Eyed Pea near you. We'll continue. Pete Boyles coming up. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Joining us is radio legend Peter Boyles. Preview his show 9 to 1 on Saturday, 710 KNUS. Good morning, Pete. Thanks for joining the program.
Good morning.
Thanks for doing that, you guys. Good morning, Billy. Welcome back. That's great, man. Short and sweet. What do you guys do with UFOs? Do up, down? It's a belief thing, but it's huge right now.
Totally, it's totally a belief thing. I am a no on UFOs. I think they've always been attributed to experimental government programs. Your thoughts?
Yeah, for me, I think that, here's the thing. I think aliens exist because if not, the universe is a tremendous waste of space. However, is life elsewhere in the universe sentient enough to manage interstellar travel? There, I get a little bit more skeptical.
Well, it's as you know, it's front burner stuff right now.
Yeah.
But there's a book now about October 1967 and about Snippy the horse and the beginning of the cattle mutilations and all the stuff that went with that. And so the new book out about Snippy and what happened in the mutilations and also UFOs. Also, I think you guys all know Jerry Schimmel, holding the record of being the only man fired twice from KOA and the Colorado Rockies. I think the world of Jerry. I mean, he is just one of the all-time. I mean, he's had some life experiences that very few people could even begin to imagine. And then he's been a great sports figure. He's also a distance bike rider. My son looks up to him in a training period. So I don't know. It's going to be one of those shows, but what do people think about UFOs?
Now, I didn't know anything about Snippy the horse, so there's a Wikipedia
it's like the worst
page,
children's book ever.
But
don't get the pop-up version. It's
death
awful.
and alleged dissection of a Colorado horse.
You bet. And Snippy plays out in the, I don't want to say mythology of it or the actual events predicated around Snippy, but Snippy was real. And I don't know if that was before you guys were born.
Oh, yeah.
But also, everything that, remember the mutilations and everything that went on with that? I mean, that was the first time that we took the radio show to, that began the haunted house thing for me. And there was a guy that claimed that all of these things, mutilations were happening here in Colorado. And we took a team. Ward Lucas went, Jim Turner went, Alan Dumas went. There was all these stories about going to this ranch where his cattle were being mutilated. And of course, it's a 2-hour story, but I took the right people with me.
Oh, that's great. And again, around that time, there was a lot of that exsanguination of cattle as well, where you just find the albums just drained of blood and they're missing some organs. And there's some questions
did
there.
they ever find out what happened? Is it still to this day a UFO that did it?
No, it's one of those stories that, fit in a pattern of stories. And I don't know, who knows? So this book is dropped and it's really good. And we'll put her, she's coming, I think, at 10, and I think Jerry's at noon. So
now,
we
Pete,
get bookends.
with Jerry, do me a favor. I need to ask 2 questions from the Jeff and Bill Show. The first one that is most paramount is when is Denver going to finally get a Major League Baseball team? Because the one we got right now is minor league. What the hell's happening there? The other one is I would love to have you ask him about the recent case that just was announced this morning with Chauncey Billups and other NBA greats of illegal gambling. So the intersection of sports and gambling and the fact that it has been so intertwined now between the two, should we be shocked? Should we be concerned that things like this happen? I'd be fascinated to see what he thinks.
Ask Pete Rose, right?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
The other part of it, of course, is shake up at KOA Radio, and their morning guys off, and Jerry's gone, and what does that mean? We just lost 4 of our guys, got let go, Chris Carroll and 3 other people. What's going on? And I think I explained what happened at 710, but KOA, question mark, and across the boards in my reading, iHeartMedia has had really a bad across the board's book. And what does that say about the business that we love and what's happening next? So Schimmel's great. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh,
fantastic. Peter Boyles this Saturday, 9 to 1, 710 KNUS. Always one of the most popular shows. You got to tune in for it. Saturday, 9 to 1, 710 KNUS. The legendary
Thanks,
Peter Boyles. Thank you, Pete.
Hey, thanks, Pete.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Billy.
All right, guys, let's talk advanced hair restoration. If you're losing your hair, desire to have it back, then Advanced Hair has the easiest guaranteed solution. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results. Guys, I've seen it with my own eyes. It's not magic, but close to it. They put hair where you need it the most, and bam, 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 it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated Dr. Tanya Paul's modern technology, and best of all, you get your own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it will grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now, 720-459-HAIR. If you qualify, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver and has changed the lives of tens of thousands of people. So don't wait. Check out the before and afters online for yourself. 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. 720-459-HAIR, advancedhair.com. We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Donald Trump's administration continuing to target those cartel boats, drones, hitting them with missiles. What do you think of this? Let's go to the phone lines. Aaron, Denver. Good morning, Aaron. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah, thanks for holding.
Hey, Jeff and Bill. The Prohibition created Al Capone. prohibition of these drugs created the drug cartels. I agree with you, Jeff. I have no problem with Trump is doing. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. But also, I agree with Bill. You know, drugs, illegal drugs, the so-called war on drugs. Of course, Nixon was, former President Nixon was the one who created this, so-called war on drugs. And as a result, and I think, I've been reading about the history of drugs. Cocaine used to be legal in the United States. It was created by Bayer, a German company, and of course there was addiction behind all that. You have the painkillers. We've probably still got an when it comes to crisis to painkillers in this country. That was created by Big Pharma here in the United States and abroad. So I mean, when it comes to these drugs, where they're illegal, it's a big business. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. The drug industry is such a big industry, it could rival the Fortune 500 companies in this country and overseas. The demand is here. The demand is in Europe. The demand is, frankly, everywhere on planet Earth. I mean, drugs, the tentacles, they just go everywhere.
Yeah, and Aaron, I'm reminded of, back in East Asia, there were times in which communists took over certain countries and came around, and there were people addicted to opium, and they came around and said, hey, we're coming back in a month. If you're still doing the drugs, we're going to kill you. They killed the people doing the drugs, not the supplier. You exactly. You got it right, Bill. Exactly. That's the thing is the person that's selling these drugs, whether it's crack cocaine, of course, crack was a big epidemic, especially in the black communities during the 80s and the 90s. So I mean, if you and it's true, if you don't take the drugs would just sit right there, on the dock of the bay anywhere on planet Earth. But there's a demand for this stuff, and maybe Bill, it should be Aaron and Bill. Maybe we should create our own big business and sell cocaine and hair and other stuff. But hopefully our customers won't OD on the stuff if we have the right ingredients. Yeah, you and I would do it responsibly, obviously, because we're those kind of people.
Responsible heroin addict. Dealers.
We will sell you heroin, cocaine.
Yeah. Hey, make sure you get Brittany Pedersen in on this too.
Yeah. I mean, because you got marijuana too. I mean, marijuana is legal here in the state. Now, there's a black market for marijuana, and the drug cartels are behind that, though. But marijuana is legal here too. But it's being regulated by the local and state government because what's in that marijuana. We want you to come back, but we don't want you to die. We don't want you to overdose. I want you to stay customers that are dead. I can't make money off of dead customers, guys.
It's also bad advertising.
What a way to
personally.
wrap the show, the responsible drug dealer approach.
Thanks, Aaron and I. Thanks, Aaron. You're the best, man. Have a great day.
Thank you. So much fun. All right, if you missed any of the show, go to 710KNUS to download the podcast. We had Jeff Crank join us. It was a great conversation. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
Almost Friday. This is 710KNUS.